Louisiana versus all y'all, Jarrett Roser with another little check-in from LSU fall football camp. It's Tuesday, August 13th, and we're getting to about the midway mark of camp as the Tigers grind through their August preparations before kicking off the season at the beginning of September against USC and getting into the thick of what should be a really fun schedule overall. Another day in which the offense to me looked really good, but also some encouraging signs from the defense. And I think that's kind of my biggest takeaway in terms of outlook for this team overall as we get to the midway mark is that the offense looks really good the vast majority of days. And some days, I guess that defense really, giving the defense fits, but you see some of the potential of the defense and the talent of the defense holding their own on some days. I thought today was another of those where there were some goal line reps and whatnot where the defense came away forcing some throws incomplete into the end zone, and then in some bigger team segments toward the end where we're kind of watching from a distance, it seemed like it was a little bit more of a challenge for the offense to move up and down the field as opposed to a few days ago where they had one where I told y'all they were cruising a little bit in that team segment toward the end of practice. And I think that's a really encouraging sign for the defense because I think the offense is going to be so good. And so getting some of those reps against a really good offense and holding your own and coming up with some big plays, some big stops and making those guys work is really encouraging at this point in the year. But continuing to, as Blake Baker and a lot of his defensive players have said, try to find some level of consistency. As much as I talk about some of the moments that the defense looked a little bit better today in spots, I think, again, still a really strong day from the offense, starting with the trenches where that first team group of offensive linemen won the vast majority of their reps that I saw in one-on-one sections or segments, as well as a couple of key reserves like the young left tackle Ori Williams, who I thought looked good on a couple of his reps that he won. Garrett Nussmeier completing some nice throws, particularly in that team segment. Also got loose to the outside and showed off the wheels a little bit with what he can do extending a play, getting to the outside. Maybe not quite reminiscent of Jaden Daniels' Heisman performance a year ago, but certainly can do some things when necessary and some things break down. You continue to see a wealth of wide receivers look really good, and it kind of starts at the top with Kyron Lacey, Chris Hilton, and CJ Daniels, but every day you're seeing guys beyond that make plays. I thought Aaron Anderson and Shelton Sampson Jr. both looked really good again today, making big catches to every level, all the way from, little quick screens and getting loose upfield to some nice plays, a little bit more vertically down the field and, around the goal line and all those things. Also thought probably today Zavion Thomas's best day in terms of what we saw from him receiving. We talked earlier in camp of him being sidelined a little bit, just kind of precautionary, making sure to, to play it safe with some things that were nagging him a little bit. He's been back full go now for, I think, about a week and had one of the catches of camp so far with kind of a diving one-handed catch in the back of the end zone as we were making our way out and going toward the press conference segment of the day. Also, we've talked so much about the tight ends throughout this camp, and I think increasingly you see Kamarian Pimpton look phenomenal with every rep that he's given a chance. And so as much as you know what to expect from Mason Taylor, an all-league type tight end at the top of that depth chart, and you saw some of the excitement for the freshman Trey'Dez Green out of Zachary early on in camp, I think all three of those guys are going to make it really hard to keep them off the field. And so expect to see a variety of tight ends with the weapons that the Tigers have. Also, Caleb Jackson for the second straight day that I've had a chance to go stop by practice and watch a little bit of the Tigers, showing what he can do, not only as a big body, physical, punishing runner, but the ability as a weapon out of the backfield in the passing game to get the ball out to the side, out in some space a little bit, or a couple yards downfield, really smoothly catching the ball and then turning upfield quickly and becoming the bowling ball, wrecking ball that that he is with the ball in his hands. And so that's going to be an interesting little piece of the arsenal for that LSU offense to watch for another deep running back group. I think that kind of hits on a lot of my biggest takeaways. Watch the punt teams work a little bit today as well, and think there's been a clear focus on some special teams throughout camp. Was watching them work on some kick coverage stuff a couple days ago, and just something that they're really emphasizing from a coaching standpoint, as well as making sure that they have a lot of their top players on some of those units to have your best athletes and your veterans and all those things. And so an emphasis on all three phases, and again, we're midway through camp. We're getting toward the kind of back stretch of the days with which we'll have some media access to have some extended viewing before they kind of start buckling things down a little bit more and preparing for that season opener at the beginning of September out in Las Vegas against USC. And the further we get into August, the more eager I am to see that group go play against some other schools instead of playing against one another each day, because there have been a lot of encouraging signs through these first couple of weeks of August. And I'm sure we're getting to a point now here shortly where a lot of the Tigers are going to be ready to go hit somebody else as well. But make sure you keep up with us. Each of these last few days that we have some viewing, I'll continue to do some of these little takeaway segments, and we'll continue to ramp some things up as we approach that season opener again against USC, just a couple of weeks away now. Thanks as always for tuning in to Louisiana versus all y'all. As always, make sure you click subscribe and drop any little notes or questions you may have. I already have a few different interviews up from today with 4 of the players. We're going to have a few more kind of highlight segments or whatnot, just some footage from practice also dropping this afternoon. And so check it all out. Thanks again, as always, for tuning in. I'm Jarrett Roser. This is Louisiana versus all y'all. Y'all have a great day.